Did you enjoy the college fund we set up for you? My grandfather's voice was warm, proud, as he cut into his birthday cake. The restaurant buzzed around us, family and friends celebrating his 80th. I froze. Fork halfway to my mouth. What college fund? The table went quiet. My grandmother's smile faltered. My parents, sitting across from me, suddenly found their plates fascinating. Grandpa looked confused. The $150,000 your parents were supposed to transfer when you graduated. For your student loans, he turned to my father. James, you did transfer it, didn't you? My father's throat moved. My mother reached for her wine glass with a trembling hand. I set my fork down carefully, my heart starting to pound. $150,000. My voice came out steady, which surprised me. I've never heard of any college fund. I'm Sarah Chen. I'm 26 years old. I graduated college 3 years ago with $127,000 in student loans. I work as a graphic designer in San Francisco, living with 2 roommates in a cramped apartment in the Sunset District. I've been paying $1,200 a month toward those loans, eating rice and beans, taking the bus, buying clothes from thrift stores. Every month for 3 years, watching that balance barely move because of interest. All while my parents had $150,000 that was supposed to pay for my education. Grandpa's confusion shifted to concern. Sarah, your grandmother and I set up that fund when you were born. We added to it every year. Your parents were trustees until you graduated. Then they were supposed to transfer it to pay off your loans. He looked at my father again. James, where's the money? My mother spoke first, her voice too bright. Dad, we should talk about this later. This is your party. No, I said quietly. We'll talk about it now. Where's my college fund? My father finally looked up. His face had gone pale. A light sheen of sweat on his forehead despite the restaurant's air conditioning. There were complications. What kind of complications cost $150,000? My voice was still calm. Inside, I was screaming, your father had some investment opportunities, my mother said quickly. We borrowed from the fund temporarily. We were going to pay it back before you needed it. I needed it 3 years ago, I said. When I graduated. When you watched me sign loan documents for $127,000, my grandfather's hand hit the table. Not loud but firm. You spent Sarah's college fund? My father's jaw worked. It wasn't like that. The business had an opportunity. We needed capital. It was supposed to be short-term. What business? I asked. My parents exchanged a look. The kind of look that confirmed everything I was afraid to know. Your father started a restaurant, my mother said. 3 years ago. It needed investors. The timeline clicked into place. 3 years ago, right when I graduated, when they should have been transferring my college fund. Instead, they'd used it to open a restaurant. Which restaurant? I asked, though I already knew. Bella Vista, my father said quietly. In North Beach, Bella Vista, the trendy Italian place with the 2-month waiting list. The one that got written up in the Chronicle. The one my parents had invited me to exactly once. Making me split the check for a $200 meal while I was eating ramen at home to make my loan payment. My grandfather was staring at my father like he didn't recognize him. You used your daughter's education fund to open a restaurant? We were going to pay her back, my mother insisted. The restaurant is doing well now. We just needed time to build up the capital. I pulled out my phone, opened my loan servicer app, and turned the screen toward them. I owe $119,000 after 3 years of payments. That's $36,000 I've paid, and I still owe almost what I started with because of interest. I looked at my father. While you've been running a successful restaurant, with my money, the table around us had gone completely silent. My aunt was crying quietly. My uncle looked furious. My younger brother, Max, was staring at his plate. I turned to him. Did you know? He shook his head quickly. No, I swear, Sarah, I had no idea. The restaurant makes money, my father said. We can start paying you back now. Monthly installments, how much? I asked. He hesitated. We could do $2,000 a month. I laughed, short and bitter. It would take you 6 years to pay back what you stole 3 years ago. That's 9 years of my life paying for something that was already mine. My mother's tears started then, the careful kind she used when she wanted sympathy. We're your parents. We wouldn't have done this if we had any other choice. You had a choice, I said. You could have not stolen from your daughter. My grandfather stood, his age forgotten in his anger. James, you will return every penny. With interest. Or I will hire a lawyer and we will settle this in court. My father's face went from pale to red. Dad, you can't be serious. Family doesn't sue family. Family doesn't steal from family. Grandpa shot back. But you did. So we'll handle this however Sarah wants to handle it. Every eye turned to me. The birthday party had become a trial and I was somehow judge and victim both. I thought about 3 years of struggle. 3 years of working overtime, skipping meals, staying home while friends went out because I couldn't afford a drink. 3 years of watching my loan balance barely move while my parents ran a successful restaurant. What the money meant for me, I want it back, I said. All of it, plus the interest I've paid on my loans. $36,000 in payments plus the original $150,000, that's $186,000. I want it within 60 days. Or I'm filing a lawsuit, my mother gasped. Sarah, please. Be reasonable. I am being reasonable, I said. I'm giving you 60 days to return what you stole. That's more than reasonable, my father leaned forward. We don't have that kind of liquidity. The money is tied up in the restaurant, then sell it, I said. Or take out a loan. Or liquidate whatever you need to liquidate. But I want my money back. I stood, picked up my purse. My grandfather touched my arm. You're doing the right thing, sweetheart, I nodded, not trusting my voice. Then I walked out of that restaurant, out of my grandfather's birthday party, leaving my parents sitting in the wreckage of their lives. The next morning, I called a lawyer. His name was David Park, recommended by my grandfather. He listened to my story in silence, occasionally making notes. When I finished, he sat back. This is theft and breach of fiduciary duty. You have a strong case. But I need to ask, are you prepared to sue your parents? They stole my future, I said. I'm prepared, he nodded. Then let's get your money back. We sent a demand letter that afternoon. Legal language, clear timeline, consequences if they didn't comply. We requested all financial records related to the college fund and the restaurant. Within 48 hours, my father called. Sarah, please. Don't do this. We can work something out as a family. You had 3 years to work something out, I said. You chose not to tell me the money existed at all. We'll work it out through lawyers now, he tried to argue, to guilt me, to remind me of everything they'd done for me. I listened in silence. Then I said, you watched me struggle for 3 years with debt that you could have prevented. You let me think I was on my own. You used my money to build your dream while I worked 2 jobs to survive. So no, Dad, we're not working anything out. You're returning what you stole, or I'll see you in court. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but my decision was solid. 2 weeks later, their lawyer contacted mine. They wanted to settle. They couldn't raise the full amount in 60 days, but they could do $100. Zero immediately and the rest in payments. I countered. $150,000 immediately, the original fund amount. The $36,000 I'd paid in loan payments as a separate settlement, paid over 12 months. Plus all my legal fees. They tried to negotiate lower. I didn't budge. Finally, 3 days before the 60-day deadline, they agreed. The $150,000 came from a loan against the restaurant. The payment plan for my loan payments was signed and notarized. The money hit my account on a Thursday. I stared at the number, 6 figures, more money than I'd ever seen in one place. Then I paid off my student loans. All $119,000 in a single payment. The balance went to zero. The weight I'd been carrying for 3 years lifted so fast I felt dizzy. I had $31,000 left from the $150,000. I put it in savings. Real savings, not the emergency fund I'd been trying to build with $50 a month. Actual financial security. The monthly payments from my parents started arriving. $3,000 a month for 12 months. I didn't spend it. I invested it, watched it grow, built the future they'd tried to steal from me. My parents didn't speak to me for 6 months. Then my mother called on my birthday, her voice careful. I wanted to wish you a happy birthday, thank you, I said. Are you still angry? She asked. I thought about that. No, I'm not angry anymore. But I'm also not going to pretend what you did was okay. We were desperate, she said quietly. The restaurant was our retirement plan, and my college fund was my education plan, I said. You chose yours over mine. I'm just making sure I can choose mine now. She was quiet for a long time. I'm sorry, Sarah, I really am. It wasn't enough, but it was something. Thank you, I said. I need to go now. I hung up gently. Not with anger, but with boundary. My father never apologized. He sent the payments on time, every month, but we didn't speak. Max told me the restaurant was struggling now, the loan payments cutting into their profit. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. A year after my grandfather's birthday, I moved into my own apartment. 1 bedroom, hardwood floors, a kitchen window with morning light. I bought real furniture, not thrift store finds. I took a vacation, first one in years. I started investing seriously, building the financial security my parents had stolen and I'd clawed back. The final payment from my parents arrived on a Tuesday, exactly 12 months after the first. $3,000, completing the $36,000 they owed me. I transferred it to my investment account and watched my portfolio tick upward. Then I blocked my parents' numbers. Not out of anger, but out of completion. They'd paid their debt. I'd rebuild my life. There was nothing left to say. My grandfather calls me every Sunday. We talk about investments, books, his garden. He never mentions my parents unless I ask. He's proud of me, he says. Not for suing them, but for standing up for myself. Your grandmother would have been proud too, he told me last month. She'd passed 2 years ago, never knowing what her son had done with her granddaughter's future. Maybe that was better. I saw my parents once, 6 months ago, at Max's graduation. We were polite, distant, like acquaintances who shared an awkward history. My mother tried to hug me. I let her, briefly. My father nodded from across the room. That was enough. Max pulled me aside afterward. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For showing me what accountability looks like. For not letting them get away with it, he paused. They tried to borrow from my college fund too. For restaurant expenses, I said no. Because of you, that's when I knew I'd done the right thing. Not just for me, but for him. I'd drawn a line. Sometimes that's all you can do. Draw a line and hold it, even when everyone tells you family should forgive, should understand, should let it go. I didn't let it go. I took back what was mine. And I'm not sorry. If your family has stolen from you money, opportunities, peace, you're allowed to demand it back. You're allowed to hold them accountable. You're allowed to build boundaries that protect your future, even if it means burning bridges to your past. My parents stole my college fund to build their dream. I sued them to rebuild mine. We're not close anymore. Maybe we never were. But I'm no longer drowning in debt I should never have had. And that's worth more than their approval ever was. Sometimes the best inheritance is the one you fight for yourself.